All right, well, welcome back. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing actually an uncut and raw video. These have been going around for a while, but not a whole lot in kind of the walleye world. My buddy Nick Lindner, he's been doing a little bit, and I just think they're an awesome format. If you haven't watched his, go ahead and check his out. They're just awesome. He's a great dude, a good buddy of mine that's just doing a lot of really cool things, kind of innovative things with some of the YouTube side of fishing. But we're going to be going out and you're going to get to see kind of the raw, the uncut, the real, the good, the bad, the ugly today. And we're kind of in the August time frame, kind of the dog days. So I'm just going to kind of walk through a bunch of locations that I'm trying, kind of some tips and tricks to hopefully catch more fish in some of these dog days. We have some rain coming, so hopefully that's not going to affect. But yeah, this feels kind of weird because usually I'm used to doing an intro and then closing it out and starting to get fishing. But we have the back cam recording, we have the live scope recording, we have the maps recording. Hopefully all of that works out. I've never done this, and there always seems to be glitches with electronics, so we'll give that a shot. Hopefully give you guys some good views. Again, this is just going to be kind of the raw, the real. There might be times like if I'm driving to a new spot that I'll fast forward or whatever, just to give you guys the full experience of the fishing and not giving you some of that downtime of in between. But we're gonna get going. The first area, we're kind of in just a big series of humps right now, and you know, I'm very zoomed in because even though these local lakes can support some pressure, I never want to blow up any of these lakes because they are small and they can be overfished if, you know, too many people start fishing them or hearing about it or whatever it might be. So I'm just going to start driving here. You can see a few fish. There's one group right there at like 90, 100 feet. Another group kind of out there. I'm kind of in a saddle right now. Saddles are just an awesome summer walleye location here. I'm going to start out with the slip bobber because you can see these fish are on structure. So they are typically, when they're on structure, they don't move quite as much. And actually these guys are a little bit closer. So I'm going to, let's see if my depth is set. They're probably about 20 feet. So I might be a little bit up above them, which is honestly okay. That's what I would prefer, other than these ones are a little tight, but we'll give it a shot. Throwing a slip bobber out to start, see if we can't. Ooh, a little bit short, but honestly they can see very high. It looks like I need to drop my slip bobber down a little bit. Need to get a little bit lower. These ones are a little bit deeper than that first group that I was seeing, so I'll drop these down. But like I said, we're just working this series of structure, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because that means I should be able to just stay on the trolling motor, keep moving, keep talking, and not have to worry too much about you know, driving to new spots and kind of taking up some of that time there. So these got a little tighter than I wanted them to be, but hopefully that'll be dropped down quick enough. A lot of times what you see in the summer is you can drop down on some of these groups of fish, still not quite deep enough, but they should be able to see it. There, one's coming up. You can drop down on these groups of fish, and if there's an active one in the group, it'll usually come up and bite relatively quickly, but otherwise you just got to work through a bunch of different groups to be able to get some to bite. And so this group is not looking overly active just yet. Sometimes you can give it a few pops. The nice thing is about this year, or this time frame, is we should be able to see a lot of fish. That guy's going up and back down. We should be able to see a lot of fish, so it should be fairly engaging as far as that goes, instead of just driving around and not seeing anything. But the trick is going to be getting them to bite. I like those ones a little bit more that are up ahead, because they're up a little bit higher. That is one of the things that I look for. You know, when you're seeing fish that are up a little bit higher, that sometimes means they are going to be a little more active. So there's a few different groups of fish out here. Another group about 50 feet out in front that way. Oh, I got my, there we go, autopilot on. I was wondering why my transducer kept moving when I didn't want it to. Do my best. Ooh, coming up. Do my best to keep everything in the frame here. Not wanting to go yet, but that's a lot of what you see in the summer. We're gonna try some probably suspended stuff today too. We'll work some structure fish that are in little bigger groups usually, and then we'll try casting on hopefully some open water stuff too. Sometimes those are a little more bitey depending on the day. Yeah, you can see these fish just kind of going up. Now I got a little tight to them. Kept drifting. I thought there was a little more wind than there is. Yeah, you can see them just taking turns. Ooh, one guy was maybe getting a little more interested. Nope. Give it a little pop here. Sometimes that little pop or that little bit of movement can trigger a bite or two. Get it up in there. But this is what you see a lot in August, is a lot of fish interested, a lot of fish looking, and a lot of fish that do that. So we're gonna go up, move around for another fish. Ooh, that one looks a little bit better. Moving a little bit. We got 40 feet up that way. Can't tell if it's two fish or if it's actually a little better fish. So we'll see if this guy gets interested. Ooh, he's coming up. Ooh, actually could have had my slip bobber. Ooh, they kind of spooked. Pull it up a little bit. Get it a little bit above them, get it moving. If this one bites, it's not a bad fish. There's times where it almost looked like a largemouth. So it's a little more round. They're around it. Another fish suspended out at 80. That's the nice thing about slip bobbers is, you know, you can cast out and you know you're going to be around fish, and then you can pan around and keep looking for more fish. And there's kind of just fish scattered over a lot of this. And actually, let's go cast on that suspended guy. I'm going to use jig and plastic. It's kind of a nice way to target some of those higher flyers like that. Let's see if he's still around, because it doesn't get down quite as far. Let's see. Ooh. Yep. Oh, that was so cool. I hope this is a walleye, because that was a sweet bite. What do we got? Yep, it's a walleye. That was a cool bite. You saw that guy up, and he had no hesitation once it came to biting. Oh, first cast on that jig and plastic. As you can tell, seeing a lot of fish. Ooh, solid fish too. If you watched my last video, I did a lot with this Smeltinator jig and plastic, and as you can see, for a good reason. Might need to brighten myself up a little bit, we'll see. Might have to mess with settings a little bit here and there. Hopefully camera stuff goes okay. Gonna need the pliers for this guy. Whoa, I hate when they do that. There we go. Whoa, first fish of the day. Didn't take too terribly long, casting on a few fish, but I'll show that one more time. Smeltinator jig and plastic. Like I said, if you watched my last video, you saw that that thing pretty much was catching everything. It's just a super versatile bait. Although that fish, I don't think it mattered, because as you saw how that thing bit, it was fired up. So fun little suspended fish that was eating. There's actually a couple more over there, I think. We'll try to get out to those guys. Get to Otto here. See where they went. I don't know if some of these are actually fish. We'll see. Or if they're like pods of bait or something. Tough to say. We got one more up there, a little shallower. You can see we're in like 19 feet right now, in between two humps. And sometimes you see them out in the middle of this, especially those bigger groups, and they'll just be kind of roaming. Sometimes you see them up on these edges, like that one just was. We're gonna keep moving here. Again, there's just this big series of humps and just random structure out here, kind of mid-lake stuff. And I really like those, like I said, because they can be on the edges, they can be deep, they can be shallow. That looks like I might toss a slip bobber on those guys again. You can see how they're kind of grouped up. That might have been the same group that we just casted on, but we'll give them another look and see, pan around before I cast on this. Good fish in the area though. We'll cast on those guys. Do need to drop down a touch, I think, depending on which group. And maybe we'll toss it that group and see. Always a good problem to have more fish in the air. I was a little bit short, but a lot of times on these, you know, whoa, those guys are a little more fired up. On these deep, clear bodies of water like this, maybe I need to go a little more reaction bait. On these deep, clear bodies of water like this, they can see quite far, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Oh, I thought that guy was going to bite for sure. You could see how I wasn't quite exact on that cast, which sometimes is nice because when you get right on top of their heads, it can spook them. Where that guy, nope, didn't want it. Cast on this group quick. I probably could and should throw a reaction bait as well before I leave these fish, just to see if I can trigger a bite. Let's see if these guys want it. Coming up. You can just see them all go up and kind of swarm it. See that so much. That's definitely the thing with forward-facing sonar. People love to think how much it just puts fish in the boat. And speaking of uncut videos, Uncut Angling just put out his video last night. I got a chance to watch it before I went to bed, probably stayed up too late, but definitely gonna have to rewatch that guy. There was so much in there. If you haven't looked at it, I mean, you gotta go check it out. It's just prime Aaron Wiebe, ruffling some feathers a little bit, but he's not wrong. And just talks a lot about forward-facing sonar and people that are, you know, maybe passing along misinformation or maybe some hypocrisy in the industry. Not going to talk too much about it because you should just really go watch it if you have any interest in kind of the forward-facing sonar stuff. Usually I try to stay out of the drama as much as possible, but anytime you're using forward-facing sonar, you end up being kind of in the drama just because people don't like it. And for me, I think it boils down to just being good ethical anglers more than anything. I mean, technology is always changing. These guys that are kind of bashing it, especially the older pros, they were utilizing the best of the best at the time, and they were kind of the young guns kicking butt, and now they're not and like to bash on the ones that are. And so bottom line, like I said, comes down to just being ethical anglers. Yes, is it easier to find and locate fish? Yes. Can it be easier to catch them? Yes. Does it make fish bite? No. But a lot of people like to believe that it does. Oop, there's a higher fish. Gonna cast that guy out. Yeah, definitely doesn't make these fish bite. And people just love, ooh, I almost biffed it there. People just love to be divisive over pretty much anything right now. I kind of like to work this a little more snappy at times. Try to keep it over them like that. Come on. Nope. And sometimes that happens. If they get it at the wrong angle, actually that guy almost looked like he was coming up. Yeah, if you get it at the wrong angle, it can be more detrimental than anything because it can spook these fish or whatnot. But a lot of times, especially like that first one you saw, just triggered it to bite. We're gonna move over to this little bit deeper hump. Saw some fish out there, lots of big groups. Like I said, when you fish these structure, you tend to see the bigger groups on the structure, and when you get off the structure, you see maybe some of the bigger singles kind of roaming around. And just a easy time of year to find fish. August, especially if you have a lake with mid-lake structure, very easy to find fish, but not necessarily easy to get them to bite. And so if you, going back to that Aaron Wiebe video, if you've actually watched that video, I would love to hear some of your thoughts. Did you think he was spot on? Did you think he was going overboard. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Drop that in the comment. Aaron is obviously one of the originals, one of the OGs of a lot of the fishing industry stuff, for YouTube at least. Guy's just wild, and I've always enjoyed his videos, always enjoyed his insight. Obviously has not been backing off from getting into a little bit more fiery situations with the barotrauma talk and some of those kinds of things last winter. But I tell you what, I don't know him personally, but the dude definitely cares about the future of fishing and the industry and our rights as anglers and all that good stuff. So I can applaud that, although I think most people do. Although I would, like I said, most people do care about the future of fishing and about the future of the industry. Very few people don't. And I would say a lot of people are well-intentioned with their thoughts or feelings or whatever it is. There's a few that just want to stir the pot because that's how they can gain some attention. But for the most part, I would say people are well-intentioned with their thoughts. And ooh, did that guy bite from, there he bit from the pull down a little bit. You can see that one was looking at it for a long time. I'm just gonna spot lock here. That guy was looking at it for a long time. I just started pulling away from it, which can sometimes trigger a few of these bites. What do we got? Another good walleye. Whoa, stay pinned. Geez, he was going for a run here at the boat. Yeah, like I said, a lot of these fish, they'll stare at a bobber. You give it a little bit of movement like that, man, and they will start, this guy's not wanting to give up, but they'll start to get a little more aggressive and, oh, almost botched the net job. Come here. There we go. Slip bobber, that guy. I'll kind of give a rundown of my setups and why I'm choosing them here as well. But this one's over a little bit deeper hump. Another great fish. These are pretty quality walleyes. You know, depending on the body of the water and the structure that you're fishing to, it will kind of vary on the size of fish. Some bodies of water just hold bigger fish, some don't. Some you get a lot of like small eater size body of water that holds decent sized fish, but can also, you know, you can run into some dinks just like anywhere. But let me get rebaited here. I'll just talk through kind of my setup and why I'm having some of these with me. This one obviously is a slip bobber. The reason why I have this one is because it's summertime and sometimes they need it dangling in their face, and it's a very easy way to just present the bait to them in a very finesse way. Oop, there's a fish right there. We're gonna drop that jigging crawler. You can see that one's a single. So the slip bobber I'm using when I'm seeing groups of fish or they're kind of stationary. This one, the jig and plastic, or I even have a reaction bait tied up. That's when I'm seeing fish like this. They're kind of out a little bit more. Ooh, didn't like that cast. Either he moved or moving just a little bit, not much though. Staying kind of close here, 30 feet out. There, that one. Oh, now he's moving. See if I'll get down to him in time. I'm using a 1/4 ounce jig. I like. Ooh. See if this guy. Oh, see, I shouldn't have dropped it there. He was starting to chase, but the one problem is when they chase like that, I'm just gonna pan around. Ooh, there's one more, a couple more suspended fish. When they wanna start chasing like that, every once in a while you just run out of room and you gotta do something to trigger them to bite. We were kind of running out of room. I wouldn't say bad, but I'm just gonna move the trolling motor a little bit to try to get these a little closer to where these fish are gonna be. Ooh, those guys are moving. Sometimes you can do a little bit of movement depending on where your trolling motor's at. Probably looked like they were going up for it. Ooh, that guy is, it was. Still kind of interested. Give it some snaps. That's the thing, when you are using artificials, you sometimes got to be a little more aggressive with it, just because, you know, they're going to get close to that bait and they're not going to obviously tell that it's any scent or anything like that. Although I do want to start messing around with scents with plastic. So if you've tried any of that, had any luck, let me know in the comments if you have any scents that you recommend. Let's see, you're going to get around this guy. Going to do some snaps here. He sees it. Not super fired up though. Huh. Geez, a lot of suspended fish out here. Another one's 70 feet out there. Might be two, tough to say. Try to get out to that guy. This one might be two. Every once in a while they get fired up and they see it coming down. And they just, ooh. Oh, I thought that guy was gonna do it. Just gonna do it some more. Tapping in place and chasing away. Try to keep them in the frame here for you. Man, they're interested, but oh, I'm running out of space here. Shoot. Lots of fish wanting to look. I don't even remember what I was talking about, so welcome to my brain here. Man, I am so ADD. I get talking about one thing and I get distracted by fish or anything. So I'll try to keep a consistent train of thought, but there's no promises. But like I said, I'm using the slip bobber. That one I'm using for more of these grouped up fish that are kind of stationary. Sometimes I might throw it at these suspended fish if they're not moving very much. And then I am gonna start with this jig in plastic. If that's not really going, I just go back and forth. Sometimes I feel like I have better luck with the jig in plastic. Sometimes I feel like I have better luck with more reaction style bait. Totally just depends on the day. Not sure I'm gonna be actually that close to that guy. Might look like it, but I think the angle. Oh. This is a situation where you could use a jigging crawler, you could, that is another strategy that I really like. But, sorry, the third one that I have with me up here at least is a reaction style bait. You know, whether that's a glide bait or, you know, this one is that Berkeley finisher, been liking that at times as well. Overall, something that you can just rip around down there, and honestly, I do like that for those plastics. You can do both with that. You can kind of work them finessey. We're gonna see if we can get around some of these guys. Rip around a little bit and trigger some bites, just to show you guys another presentation. I really like working reaction baits, you know, and live scope has obviously changed the game on that too, being able to cast it individual fish, or some of these guys are following, but oh, he swung and missed. Shoot. Felt the little thump. Sometimes when they get closer like that, I'll do the double tap. And I have heard of guys really being able to finesse with these. Maybe not finesse, but work them all the way back to the boat and still catch them. I have not. I've typically found that if they don't bite it kind of like on that first drop time frame, they are usually going to not be that interested. And so really it kind of starts to boil down to, I mean, we're seeing a lot of fish, like there's a few more. I'm gonna go back to this, kind of this deeper structure. Try to find some pods of fish and cast a slip bobber back on them. We're gonna do a little bit of both day. Like I said, we're gonna be going in and around this structure. We're gonna be going on top. Let's see. And that's one of the tips that I can give, like for this August time frame, don't get stuck on one pattern. Even if you're seeing fish, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be the active fish. So be, you know, versatile with your baits, be versatile with your locations. Honestly, a lot of times this time of year, that's what it takes to get bites. It just takes filtering through a bunch of different things in order to get bites here. One high one. I should probably do a plastic at that guy. I think my bobber's set a little too low. 60 feet bump. I think I'm not going to be super close to that guy. We'll see. Maybe with the drift it'll be all right. Ooh. See if we can trigger him. Follow in. Sometimes that double pump. He's interested. Tell you what, this is just a beautiful day to be out fishing. That's for sure. Oh, there's a little pod of fish. A little deeper though, so we're gonna toss the slip bobber down. So a lot of times what I like to use slip bobbers is in these pods of fish, because if you work a bait through them, you will find that they can get spooked, especially a reaction style bait or slip bobber. If I am able to work it a little bit more finesse like that and drop it on their head, sometimes I can get these fish to stick around a little longer. You can see a pod there at about 40 feet. We'll see if I got down my bait far enough here, kind of on this front side of them. Let's see. Like I said, the nice thing is about these deep clear lakes, as tough as they can be, these fish can see them from a long ways away. Come on. Come on. Just gonna let it sit for a little bit. I'm not gonna start pulling away or give it little pops yet, just because I wanna see if these fish will bite it out of the gates. Another one coming up. Come on. You can sit on groups like this and they will at times eventually bite, but what I have found to be most consistent is you'll usually get bit in the first, you know, few minutes if there's going to be an active fish in the group. That guy was starting to. What I might do is I might cast on the back side of these and just kind of slow roll it over top. You can do the same thing with the jig and crawler, but the nice thing about the slip bobber setup is you can let it sit if you want as well, where you can only let a jig and crawler sit so much. See? Yep, I think that guy bit. I'm just gonna give him a second. He's on, slowly reel down. There we go. This guy does not feel super big. Might be an eater though. You can see that just that slow drift over the top is what definitely did that guy in. That is what he wanted. Decent fish though. Oh, that one would be one for the frying pan if we were gonna keep. Oh, show that guy off. Tell you what, this whole, not live thing I was gonna say, but the whole uncut thing almost makes me feel like I'm just out fishing. So I almost just released that guy without even showing it off, because not gonna lie, there's times where I'm just talking like this to myself when I'm fishing. So that's that first little spot, or first little areas at least. We had some fish in the saddle. I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see this on there, but this is like a deep, kind of a deep hump, deep kind of grassy. Guess it tops out at about 22 or so. I do see another suspended fish. I'm gonna go a little more reaction-y even yet, because that might be one that we already casted on. I'm gonna throw this finisher at it and just really See if we can snap it around. Sometimes what I really like to do with these finishers, I will drop it right on top of their head. You can see that one is, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. That one was right in the stitching. It's about 40 feet. I think I'm a little bit long, so I'm gonna reel back, try to get it a little more directly on it. There, he's close. This guy, not super interested. I think this is maybe one of those fish that we casted at. Looks long, could be a pike, honestly. So I probably should get my bait out of there so I don't get bit off. So a few walleyes, a couple on slip bobber, one on jig and plastic, all kind of around this structure. Again, this is a deeper hump. We have some shallower humps. This is just a nice conglomeration. That's what I like to find if I can, just because there's so much stuff. So now even when I'm going in between them, I will keep the trolling motor down and I'll just keep putzing, because you'll see fish like this. Right now we're off on this deeper flat a little bit, still some bait, still some fish. I'm gonna cast this jig and plastic out at it, see if we can get it to go. Snap it a little bit. Ooh, I thought it was gonna go there. Oh, bit it for a second. He's acting funny. So I'm gonna go a little more finesse-y. Come on. Yeah, this guy's acting kind of squirrely. Don't know that I like that. So I'm gonna keep moving, I think, because there's some other fish around. Oh, you can see, pulled my pants down. Shoot, bit the tail of this thing, which doesn't usually happen when you're kind of snapping around like that. I found that they typically will eat it pretty good. Ooh. I'm gonna back up here. Sometimes I'll just pump the brakes really quick because I don't want to drift over tops of these fish. There's two there, so I'm gonna try to line them both up. See if I can't go from one and then to the other, drop right on top of that. There's every once in a while that drop right on top just triggers these fish. Ooh, I'm losing it in the stitching here. Now I'm getting to that other one. Oh, that looks like a big fish. I think that other one's a good pike. Not super interested. Like I said, you're gonna see a lot of fish. Give it a little tap tap, bigger snaps. Just gonna kind of slow roll it here. Maybe give it little twitches. They will sometimes commit to that as well. Start pulling away. Nope. Kind of, like I said, thinking these are pike. At least that one over there is longer. If not, it's a big walleye. So I'm actually going to maybe toss a slip bobber on these guys in case they are a walleye. He saw the little more reaction-y style when I was snapping it, didn't want that. But these are those ones that are dangerous because they're big enough where I'm like, get pretty excited about them. And I can waste a lot of time chasing these. As you can see, I just kind of push that crawler. This is the Norfin tungsten jig underneath it. I love that tungsten. Push it over that wire keeper, or that bait keeper, and where'd that guy go? There's one right here. Actually, he might be at an okay depth. Then ooh. Yeah, that's a long fish. Holy cow. That's gotta be a pike. Gotta be a pike is my assumption. Nope. Not interested. If you had a big old minnow, pop that thing on it, whew, could be game over. See another one over here. Yeah, you get these mid-range flats, kind of like in my last video that I was talking about. Man, they can just be not as stacked with fish, but man, fish can be just one here, one there, all over it. So good areas to, pull spinners or Lindy rigs over, specifically spinners because you can move a little faster then. But also if you have a forward-facing sonar, you can do this. Not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this. Like I said, I zoomed in quite a bit just because I didn't want to completely give away areas that I'm fishing, but I also want to, excuse me, but I also want to give you guys an idea what we got going on here. Is that guy coming back? Nope. Excuse me. I'm gonna move quickly around. I just want to check a couple, this other side of this deeper hump out. Man, you can just see all that bait. We've had some rain. I'm wearing my rain bibs today. It honestly feels so good to be able to actually wear some little thicker clothing and not just be sweating out of your mind. So that's been a good feeling. Got to put the rain bibs on for one of the first times. These are the Rebel Pro from Norfin. They're awesome. They are my favorite favorite bibs I've ever owned. Very comfortable. They're lightly insulated, so I wear them a lot in the fall. I'm gonna be drifting towards this guy. We'll see what happens. Yeah, drifting toward this guy. I didn't like that. All right, I don't see a group. We're gonna roll around to another area. Geez, another high guy. Okay, I got to cast on that guy too. I'm a sucker for suspended fish. Let's see if we can't get this guy to go 70 feet. It's a pretty good little jaunt. See if I can get out to him. Getting in that stitching. Kind of losing them. Give it a little twitches, a little just straight pull. Man. And that's the thing. Now he's like right here. Kind of run out of space. Now he's going down. A couple more out here though, a little more out a little further and suspended again. Let's see, where'd they end up? 70 feet, at least one for sure. Those guys are kind of right in that stitching as well. Come on. Give it those snaps. Oh, he nipped at it. I don't know what the deal is with them nipping at it like that. There's a little group of fish out here. Can't tell if this is bobber worthy, if I should just rip a cast out there and work it through a couple of these fish first. They're not quite grouped up enough to where I would maybe use a bobber. Oh, there's another one. One came out of the weeds there. Sometimes just those little pops are what trigger these things. And then you're getting, these guys might be grouped up enough to throw a slip bobber on. 40 feet. Let's see. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, you've seen a few fish catches. I appreciate that. Ooh. This might be one where I can do that slow pull over top, almost like I'm working a jig. Plus I was set up a little bit deeper than I wanted to be. Come on. That guy didn't want. See if any of these do. Not looking that interested so far. Yeah, usually you can tell when these groups of fish are going to be interested. And another group over there. We'll see, not sure I got fully to those guys. I'm kind of to the side of them, but like I said, with the clear water, hopefully they'll be able to see it. Yeah, here come the perch. Got to get out of there. Might work a reaction bait through those. Yeah, perch came out. That's the death sentence right there. At least the death sentence of a crawler. Come on now. Got hooked up. There's no great way if you're filtering through stuff. I have not found a great way. Maybe you have, but I have not found a great way to just be able to filter through rods very quickly. Ugh. Not quite where I wanted to be, but we'll give it a shot. A lot of times I will, if I do a cast like that, I'll just reset and keep moving, but I might be able to come across these guys, so a little more pops as it gets closer to the boat. Nope. Try it over these guys, and then we're gonna find new fish. We've been working through a few of these. That's half the thing, is just continuing to find new fish. There we go. Ooh. These guys do not look big, so I don't think these are the ones I'm targeting with this bait. Or should be targeting with this bait. Ooh, they did snip at it, but those are little guys. We're gonna keep moving. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking of this. If you like it, things you want me to talk about if I ever do this again. You can probably see on the graph there's hump off to my right. Now I'm working over this kind of deeper flat. Gonna move out to a new area here. There's another, like I said, you can just kind of work an edge. I'll pan over there. You can kind of see the edge of that. There's some deeper flats, another deeper hump mixed in. Just a lot of really good stuff. And working through a few different things. Gonna pull up. The next area we're gonna try is a little bit of a saddle. I've talked about that so much in videos, but saddles, whether it's winter, whether it's summer, whatever it is, saddles just seem to hold fish because they have structure on both sides. Typically there's bait around. There's a lot of different things that can hold fish in one area instead of them just kind of moving. When you're over this open water bite, you know, a lot of times other than bait, there's not a lot of things holding them there, so they can just move around. When you're fighting fish on structure like this, that's why I kind of like to throw that slip bobber. But trying to get one more video done here. Me and Nick and Brett are heading up on a little fishing trip together. It's gonna be a great time. They're just awesome guys. Really enjoy spending time with them. And ooh, there's a suspended fish. Let's try toss at that guy and see what we find. So that's just gonna be a super fun trip. Getting a bunch of content, but also just getting to kind of hang out and fish with those guys is gonna be a real treat. Two just awesome sticks. Ooh, they got more fish going on. These look like bass. See how they're coming up like that? Yeah, I think this is a school of bass. Yeah, one was on for a second. Yeah, you see how they're schooled. If I were to toss a jig and crawler or something down. School of bass. They just move like crazy. They stay pretty tight and they just make a little more erratic movements. Walleyes tend to be a little more, you know, they won't make quite as erratic movements unless they're really chasing bait. Then I've seen it. Even this morning, it was raining a little bit, so I was like, I'm not gonna put the cameras on yet. Threw some reaction bait around over some just like deep basin stuff, kind of trying some new. Got a few bites, but they were just moving crazy. This bait, ooh, there's a group of fish. This bait was just getting chased like crazy. Now it looks like a group for slip bobbers. Toss it on there. They're about 16, so I might need to go a little shallower. And I also forgot to change out my crawler. So I'm gonna do that really quick after those perch got me. Need to back up. Otherwise I'm gonna drift right into these guys. The one downside to crawlers, and I've actually seen, I think Brett just posted in his Target Walleye email, if you do not get any of the Target Walleye stuff, which if you're watching my channel, you probably do, man, sign up for those emails, watch his channel. He has so much good news and information on there. But I think I saw it on there where some guy puts his crawlers in like a plastic bag or something like that with some ice. And tell you what, if you look at my boat right now, it's got a lot of crawler bedding on, all that good stuff. So I could probably use that right now. Still might be a little deep. Let's see if I can see. Yep, was a little deep and not quite on them. I like to be over top of these fish if I at all possibly can, just because I feel like it triggers a few more bites. These guys are a little shallower, so it'll be interesting to see. Ooh, I got tight. Shoot. Well, we'll give it a shot. I do not like to be this tight, but I feel like if I do move the motor, I'll probably spook these fish. Not super interested. We're gonna keep moving. That is the thing. I mean, I know I have the luxury of having forward-facing sonar and all that, but man, it's so easy to get stuck on fish. There's typically so many more fish than you think of down there. It just takes a little time to drive around. Obviously, forward-facing sonar helps break that down quicker. But you can also see it doesn't make the fish bite. Was that a group there? Small group. Let's see, might be worth casting on. See where I'm at for my depth. It's probably pretty close. Go a touch deeper maybe. See if I get close to those guys. They were moving a little bit. Might get close enough for them to see at least. One saw it. Going slowly. Come on. Come on. Oh, take it. Second one coming up. Try that pull away since he was kind of interested last time. Nope. Try a couple little pops. Trigger their bite. Didn't want the pull away either. The old fade away. Come on. Can we trigger this guy? Nope. All right, let's get to where we are actually planning on. That's one thing, forward-facing sonar you'll see, is it's easy to get distracted just like this. Well, that's a bigger single. Since that's a bigger single, I'm gonna switch out here. Might go to that jig in plastic. Where is that guy? There he is, looks like a decent fish. 50 feet out or so. Didn't quite get to him. Try that again. Making good casts is important. That's for sure. The only way to get better is practice. Oh, he nipped it again. Man, didn't want that guy. They've just been nipping, which is usually when you can snap it around like that, they do not just nip, they usually smack it. If you watch my last video, there was one that it saw it about 20 feet down. I'm just gonna try more slow roll this guy. Give it little twitches, kind of slow roll it over top. Come on. Nope. Still kind of looking, but not really. I'm just so much more of an aggressive style of fisherman. I like to fish quickly and I like to fish hard and just really snap these baits around there. Ooh. Those guys didn't quite get to those bigger fish. There's some of those smaller ones you can see. Not the ones we're looking for. We're looking for those bigger guys. Come on. Nope. Snap it. Once when you get on the right fish, like that first one, that bit, so fun. Otherwise, you kind of got to do this, and you just got to work through a ton of fish. Let's see. We'll work through some here, that's for sure. Ooh, that guy's... Oh, sometimes when they do that, you saw that one started chasing up pretty quick as it saw it falling. Sometimes you can stop that thing right in its tracks, stop your bait, and give it that snap. Every once in a while, those will be the ones that will just get fired up and crush it. We're gonna keep moving here. Find some new fish. Again, finally getting to that saddle here. So I'm going to get the slip bobber ready because that's what I'm going to anticipate. Whoa. What I'm using with my slip bobber, this is a 2B. This one's the precision shooter. I like both of them, the precision shooter and the sharp shooter. The other ones are, the Jigs and Plastic one that I'm using is, after his namesake, Jigs and Plastics by Elliott. Elliott Identity Series Jigs and Plastics. The other one is their reaction baits in the Identity Series. These ones are a little tighter to bottom. God, but I'm getting over top of them again. Trying to drop these down. I'll try back up a touch, but I might have already spooked these fish. We'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I spooked these guys, but we'll give her a shot. You never know. And they're sitting a little tighter to bottom. Sometimes I don't like that. Seems like those ones aren't quite as aggressive. Pop it a little bit. They're not interested. Oh, like that actually. Nope. Let's go find more fish. There's some. Actually, where's my... There's my slip bobber. I'm going to move it down a touch. Because, again, like I said, I typically like to be above these fish. I've had some strange storms move through recently, and obviously it got colder, which I'm definitely not going to say is an excuse, because honestly, sometimes I think that can get these fish going. I mean, obviously depending on the lake, but some of these lakes, they actually get a better going a little bit when you get kind of some of those summer storms moving through. Come on. Now these do not look that big. I'm gonna keep moving, find some bigger groups or some bigger fish, one of the two. One of the exciting things, I don't know if I've shared this on my YouTube channel or not. I've shared it on my social media, but my wife and I are expecting. That's exciting. Baby due December 6th. So we have some big changes coming up. We're looking forward to it. And honestly, this summer, not guiding has been awesome. I was, knowing that this is going to be in the works potentially, so we being able to make some of those changes, guiding was awesome. I loved it, but it took a considerable amount of time to be able to scout and guide. I'm a person that I cannot do something less than 150%. So if I was going to do the guiding thing, I'm going to be out scouting a lot, and there's just no end to that. So there's a group. So it was just pretty much a never-ending battle of being able to, see my wife and actually have time. She's a photographer, so she's obviously super busy in the summer as well. See if these guys will go. Come on. Give it a couple of pops. These guys got tight again. Don't know that I like that. Nope. I can't even honestly remember what time I started this. I should double check, make sure everything's recording. I'm gonna pull a Nick Linder here. If you're watching already so far in this video, I want you to put, let's put a baby in the comments, since I was just saying that my wife and I are having a kid. So if you've seen this far, put a baby in the comments. I'm just really curious to see what you guys are thinking, what you guys are liking. If you're liking this, if there's things you'd like differently, throw those in the comments. Like I said, this is never in my videos do I ever plan to, put a shield over anything or kind of hide or disguise maybe a tough bite or whatever. I do my best to say like, hey, it was tough today, or this is what I caught in this amount of time. But those videos are specifically made for doing it efficiently and trying to get you as much information as possible. Obviously, I'm a teacher, and so being able to give you as much information as possible is what I strive to do. And so we're just buzzing over to the next area here. This is something that actually I'm going to fast forward through this. So that way you don't have to see this whole process. Well, we're back. I see a couple fish out there. These are some of those ones that I probably, some days I won't take time to cast on them. That was a strange movement. Because these are the ones that, I don't know. They're kind of that in between of, should I throw a slip bobber? Should I throw reaction style bait? Should I move quickly? Should I not? Just how they're set up and where they're at. This is just getting to another hump here. You can see we're kind of on the edge of it. We're on kind of, I guess you would call it one point. Kind of one of those sweet spots on it. Maybe these are a little bit deeper. They might see it still. Give it a little movement. Sometimes if those fish are above, you can give it a little movement. And that can kind of alert those fish that, hey, there's something in this area. But these guys, he's starting to look up. You can see how he's pointing up a little bit, but not. No. Just when I was about to leave, although we're getting over top of these fish too much today. We're gonna keep moving. I'm guessing, just because that's kind of been what we've been seeing today, hopefully there's gonna be some, a little more schools of fish on top of this versus some of those more singles that we've been casting at too. Something up there. This is kind of up on top. This one's a little bit shallower hump. You can see we're like 17-ish feet or so. Not seeing too much so far. One of the things, I was just listening to the JMO podcast, and if you haven't, if you're not a podcast listener, if you're looking for a new podcast, whatever it is, if you haven't listened to the JMO podcast, he does a great job. Taylor's awesome dude. But I was just listening to that with Max Wilson, And Max is a walleye tournament angler, and one of the things that he said that, you know, it can kind of separate people when you're talking fishing, and I thought it was a really unique perspective and good is, you know, a lot of people are doing the same thing. With forward-facing sonar, it's not necessarily the what you're doing, because a lot of people are driving around, whether it's finding suspended fish or even fish on structure and getting a lot of baits in front of them. That's not going to be necessarily groundbreaking or something that most people aren't doing, but he's saying a lot of it has to do with how efficiently, you know, how quickly you can see what you're looking for on your graph so you can move faster, because obviously the faster you move, the more fish that you can come across, especially if you can come across fish that you know are aggressive. Being able to read that graph to know what you're looking at, and when you're seeing fish that are going to be a little more ready to eat. And you know, obviously that guy's got a ton of experience working with forward-facing sonar, done it at a very high level. So I thought that was a good perspective. There's a suspended fish. There he is. Gonna toss out at that guy. Yeah, sometimes I like auto at times, but sometimes I feel like it zooms out too far when I don't want it to. So I'm just gonna put it on a standard. I'm gonna let this one drop right on this guy's head pretty much. Snap, 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 snap. Come on. Double snap. He was kind of interested. But that's the kind of the risk you run when you're doing something like that. Some of these, okay, you can see how these ones are a little bit more low lying. I anticipate that these are maybe suckers. I'll cast on them just to kind of see how they react. But you can just see how low lying they are. Some are up off bottom a little bit, but just, I don't even know what else it is about it. Or if it's just from, watch this guy bite right away. Maybe it's not. Been wrong before. Not that suckers might not come and take a look, but that guy not super acting like a sucker. Kind of want, oh, I think he bit. Yeah, there was a little perch that came up. Just gonna let it drift here. Maybe those aren't. Yeah, I think that was a little perch that came up because that guy just did it again. Look at that guy. Drop down here. He just drifted over this guy. That's convenient. Like I said, August is not usually for lack of seeing fish. Bit of a dry spell here. We're going to move to a different area, so probably just fast forward this again so you don't have to see that, and I actually might fire up the big motor here to get to that next area. Well, we're back at a new spot. I see a suspended fish as we're working our way over there. Did it spook away? Might have spooked away. Shoot. You can see a few fish out there. Not sure I'm wanting to target those guys right now. One thing I did want to quick talk about is I had a few questions on you know, why I'm choosing to have my live scope set up in certain ways. Oop, that guy turned around, not coming back to where we were going. Ooh, there's a suspended mark. Right now you can see I have it on my trolling motor, and so I want to talk through like kind of why I choose to have it certain ways some days and other days. So if I am not quite where I want to be actually, if I am you know, fishing myself, it's awesome to have it up here. If it's not super windy, love having it up on my trolling motor. If, you know, I'm not gonna be spot locking on groups of fish, great. When I can just go around and chase fish like this, that's when I really like to, you know, have it on something other than like a separate pole. If I can just have it on something like this, ooh, yep, oh, come on. Go. Bit, but didn't commit. you know, if I can have it on something other than a separate pole, then it's really nice because I can just drive around, I'm hands-free. You can keep those fish in, you can keep those fish kind of in your radar. But if it's super windy, or if I know I'm gonna be like fishing pods of fish or fishing with other people, then it's really a lot more efficient to have it on kind of a separate pole. Like when I was guiding, I never had it up here. Partially because, ooh, see that guy fire up after it? Partially because I didn't have my Ultrex. But another thing is like, it's really hard to guide from up here. Maybe some guys can do it, but I just feel like it's really hard to be personable when you're sitting up here on, man, another one just bit the tail. Tells you a little bit about what mood they're in. But going like I was saying, it's really hard to guide up here. You know, people are looking at my back or whatever, even if I'm telling them where to cast. Very hard to guide and be personable while also, you know, being on the trolling motor, still moving around. So for those reasons, if I'm fishing with a group of people, I want to be able to just kind of point to where I am, kind of spot lock, use it separately because it's obviously you can't spot lock and stay on fish because these fish are moving usually. And so if it's windy, or if I'm with a group of people or guiding or whatever, that's when I chose to have it on the separate pole. If I'm, you know, fishing myself, especially when it's not windy, I just love having it on the trolling motor. I wasn't sold on it right away, I'm not gonna lie, but also the first day that I had it out, we were fishing crappies and it was just crazy windy. Let's see. And so that was just not a great experience there. Bobber went down. Ooh, I had a lot of slack. Oh, and he spit it. I don't think these are walleyes, nope. There were, but sometimes you get over these areas like this, you can see, yeah, bit me off. I don't think those walleyes even had a chance to get to it because of how that fish was. Another time I really like using plastics is when you're dealing with stuff like that. You can cast on these fish and not have to worry about getting bit off by bluegills or whatever. Losing your bait. Pop this guy out. We're just getting on in a couple other groups of fish. Whoa, one right here. Getting close to these guys. Should be able to get on them though without spooking them. They're gonna kind of drift to our side. You can see this is another one that's just like a deep hump like this. Ooh, that is high. I need to drop this down. Another deep hump that we are just kind of going over, and these fish are kind of cruising over the tops of it. Ooh, geez, a few different groups. I'm gonna cast on these ones in front because I know for sure that they hopefully haven't spooked. But these ones we are gonna be getting right over top of, so we'll see. Ooh, I didn't even drop it down deep enough. Not being, ooh. One of them was pretty interested. Can we get it to go right over top? We're literally drifting right over top of these guys. These ones might be worth coming back for because I did not fish them efficiently. Don't be afraid to go back, you know, over a group of fish. Yes, sometimes you might spook them, and so it might not be worth it. But we're kind of getting to the end of that hump here, and I'm not seeing a ton of other fish. So don't be afraid to go. Like I said, you're seeing the good, the bad, the ugly. That was ugly. Spooked those fish. I shouldn't say spook them, I just didn't have my depth set correctly for those fish we're at. See if this will be a different story now. Need to stop us here. We're moving around. Whoa, come on. Oh, that guy looked like he was gonna do it. I'm gonna start moving this. Some of these fish were getting a little fired up. Give it a few pops here. I usually like to be about this height, but Might even drop into them a little bit more. Give them a little something more to think about. The downside to bobbers right there, you can't just change the depth. So that's where a jig and crawler is nice, and honestly something I should probably throw on. That would definitely be my next option if I were to have one more out here. Wind is picking up, just making it a little bit trickier to maintain boat control and keep the bait in the screen here. Yeah, I'm not liking how I kind of botched this setup. I was drifting downwind and that wind started picking up. And that's not a great recipe for success. It's nicer when you can work into the wind like this. But I already got a little too far into it before. Man, there's a lot of fish down there though. Might just have to work a reaction bait through there, just to see. Come on. I think one's on it. Yep. There we go. Does not feel big, but we got a little eater walleye. Yeah, you can see there's just a school of them down there. I'll pan around before as I take this guy off. A lot of fish. Whoa. Probably like 14, something like that. A lot of those down there. One thing I might do, I might toss one more time. I'm gonna spot lock here quick so I can redo my crawler. A lot of fish down there. Like I said, usually at this time of year, you're not at a shortage of finding fish. When I was guiding, that's what I'd always tell people when they were asking what to expect or whatnot. I said, here's the deal, we'll be around fish. Just on them if they decide to bite. And obviously there's definitely things we can do to help with that, but it's sometimes just up to them. We're gonna go up to that other group quick and then kind of use that to kind of drift back. We'll get this one kind of on top of that group, hopefully. Oh, I think I was due for one of those. Casting into the wind with a slip bobber will twist it up. There's definitely some things. These bobbers have been a little more helpful with doing that, or with not twisting up, I should say. Oh yeah, there's just a bunch of fish. That's why I kind of do that big looping cast that you see. Try to get it so it's not, ooh, one fired right up for it. Didn't want it though. There he bit. Wasn't there. He was munching. No, he didn't steal it though. So that's good. Cast it out again. So this fish, the rest of them I think are kind of behind me, so I'm literally just gonna let this wind kind of pull me back. I'm gonna let it sit, and then I'll just pull it at times, let that drift kind of do the work. Ah, shoot, I think some of these, either bluegills or perch, found it, yeah. Shoot, that gets to be a problem. When you get those bluegills and perch finding you, it gets hard. So I might just throw that plastic down real quick. Yeah, otherwise that's gonna happen a lot. Let's see. Otherwise you might go chase a few suspended fish. So that's always a good time. There's just so much down there between bait and, God, these guys are kind of moving. Oh, there's actually a little bit bigger one. You can see it kind of towards bottom. I'm gonna get towards that guy first. You can see he's a little bigger. Sometimes I don't like when there's much on bottom, but we'll give her a shot. Don't know how close I'm gonna be to him. Nope. Well, let's just go over this group of fish one more time quick with this guy before we move on to another one. I'm gonna see if those other ones are behind me still. A little bit, but not a ton. And that's where those guys went. That group is moving. You can see these walleyes will often get almost like in a ball like that, where it's, you know, a big group. Yeah, these guys are moving still. There, we're back in them. They were all darting up. You could feel them pecking away. So maybe these aren't walleyes. You can see them all just darting up. Try to do a little more snap. See if we can trigger some of those bigger ones. Nope. We're gonna keep moving. We might go try some. So this is a kind of a deeper hump, like I said. Some of these smaller fish grouped up on top. We're gonna go move around, just cruise and find kind of a deep flat out here. I shouldn't say deep flat, it's probably like 25 to 30 depending on where we're at. And these fish will just kind of roam out over the top, like that guy right there. But either way, hopefully you guys are enjoying this so far. Just kind of feeling like you're hopping in the boat with me, breaking down water. Again, this is not an easy time of year. This is a thing that similar style, I would say, is like maybe a June-ish type bite with some of this, like late June, July. Ooh, that wind pushed my line a little bit, so my first snap was not where I wanted it to be. Following, you can see that bait move out of the way. Another one down there. See, there's two. They kind of got right underneath us though. Toss on that guy. Toss a little bit to the right, a little bit more, just to hopefully let this wind kind of push it right towards it. Ooh. Oh, I thought that guy was gonna do it. You see how he started coming up like that? Usually when they start it like that, they're gonna come up and crush it. Yeah, dang perch. We do have a couple more out here though. See, these are ones we could drop a slip bobber on too. And could be effective. Which we may end up trying that, but oh, like that. Come on. Man. Those are the ones that, like I said, if you saw my last video, when they start up like that, usually they crush it. I just let that one sink a little farther because the last time I didn't do that and I stopped it and it didn't bite. So I was like, ah, shoot. Now these panfish are coming by, or perch or something. All that bait that these fish are cruising around. Keep moving. The nice thing, that is another time I made the jump to lithium batteries. If you have not done that, it's not cheap. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, it's a nice, cheap, easy investment. It's not. But if you like doing this where you're kind of running around, especially with your trolling motor, man, I just love having no worries. I was out on the water yesterday doing more spot locking and casting and stuff, but I think I had 99% left still. That was a bad cast. 99% left still by the end of the day. And yeah, it was just impressive. Geez, that guy was shallow. That is 2 bad casts in a row. Poor fishing. That's the stuff that I usually can edit out, but I guess you're getting to see it all. Poor casts, poor fishing. That's all right. I'm never gonna be the one. Ooh, now that guy moved away a little bit. Okay, that one was not on me as a cast. That one was because that fish was moving. But I'm never gonna try to pull the facade like I'm perfect or the best angler in the world, because that, if you fish with me, you know that's clearly not true. I've put in a lot of time, and so I've learned a few things along the way, but far from the best angler in the world, that's for sure. Come on. Not even looking. There he is. Oh, man. I might go to the, I either have to go to a super finesse extreme or I'm gonna go to really snappy reaction bait style, and I think that's what I'm gonna go to next. But you can see with all that bait around why they may not be ready to eat. Also, any parents in the audience, go ahead and give me your best parenting advice down below. First time parents, we're gonna have a lot to learn. Obviously, being teachers can help once they get a little older. That does not help for the newborn stage, that's for sure. Get one more cast at that guy. Ooh. Not interested. This suspended bite is so fun because one, not a lot of people are doing it, so these fish are generally unpressured. Obviously more and more people are going to be doing it when people like myself and others are putting videos out, but just a super fun bite. Another way to kind of spread the wealth on targeting and catching some of these fish. Let's get out to these guys. Get a little touch closer. Come on. That one looked a little smaller, but we'll give it a shot. Ooh. These ones I'm not ripping around quite as much as I would typically do. That one did not look quite as big. I'm gonna get over a little bit. There was one, that one looked a little bit bigger. Let's see, that guy's right over there. Another thing is, you know, just being efficient. I know I talked that in my big fish video, but this August time frame, you know, these fish are, these fish can be so finicky, you know, and that's obviously why it's called the dog days. But being able to fish efficiently, move through lots of fish, keep moving, because as you can see, there's so many more areas than people think that are holding fish. This is an area that I fished a lot of these areas when I was guiding and never used to fish this. And now, you know, it took some time and took a little confidence building just to drive around and try some of this stuff. But once you do kind of start to get a little confidence in it, it's a lot of fun and it can be very rewarding. There's gonna be a lot of haters, I'm sure. Just like if you've seen any of my reels or any of my other posts recently, the haters love to come out of the woodworks, especially when it's involved with forward-facing sonar. But it is a very fun and efficient way to fish. And like I said, anytime you're doing something that not a lot of other people are, that is rewarding. You know, a lot of people like to say, well, you didn't, just that fish finder told you where it was, and oh, yeah, but you got to put in the time to know the patterns of what these fish are going to be doing, where they're going to be going, try to think outside the box a little bit instead of just doing the same thing over and over and over again like a lot of these guys do. You know, a lot of these guys are, you're going to ruin the fishery. One of the things I will say, you know, this is a little bit making assumptions, but most of the people that are saying those kinds of comments are the guys that are going out and keeping a limit every opportunity that they get. And I tell you what, I don't know about you, but a lot of the anglers that I know that are very serious and have live scope, I mean, it's happening more and more now, it's becoming more prevalent, but a lot of people that I know that have forward facing sonar, they are not the ones that are keeping a ton of fish. I will say, yes, they are getting pressure, so there is that to think about. And if people are not doing it ethically, like targeting them too deep, or, you know, trying to snag them, or whatever these things that people come up with are, obviously that's not going to help the cause. But more often it's the anglers that are doing it, not the technology, because there's a lot of anglers that have been catching a lot of fish for a long time with live scope over the last however many years. But you know, a lot of these fisheries are still doing very, very well because they're being ethical. They are practicing catch and release. And another thing is just having safe handling of these fish. You know, not bringing the net in, flopping it on the floor, letting them flop around in the heat and whatever. Being able to, you know, keep a net in the water, targeting these fish. And, you know, once you get them on and off quickly. Yep, no problem getting a picture. I'm snagged up. Sometimes you can feel yourself. These fish really have turned a little more negative. As you can see, we have some storm systems rolling in, but I'm not going to say that's an excuse, because honestly, sometimes I like that. But if you've ever been a fisherman, or you know fishermen, you know that we love to give excuses. If give another little checkpoint, if you are fishing, or if you are still watching, give me your favorite excuse that you hear people say about why the fishing can be tough. Let's go with this guy. There's one a little bit higher. Where did he go? That one looks decent too. You see a few fish out there. Again, I'm working with the wind to my back right now, which isn't ideal because you kind of drift into these fish, but I'm gonna get that a little closer. There we go. We'll try that on for size. Oh, he swung and missed. Shoot. Still hanging around. Decent fish out there too. Come on. 50 feet. Where'd he go? Should be able to get to him, especially once I get this drift. I kind of cast it on this side of him because I knew the wind was going to be pushing us. I'm just going to kind of do a little more of these taps, a little bit more of that kind of thing instead of the snappy, just to give it a little different look. See what he does. And what he does is, geez, that wind's really picking up now. All right, what we're gonna do, we got one more hump. These suspended fish are not going. They were kind of right away. But I wonder with this storm moving in, wind picking up a little bit, I'm gonna go to one more hump and we're gonna fish it. And then we might call it a live. We'll see. Hopefully if you'll stick around till the end. If you are, big time props. And again, there's just so many people that have been so supportive this whole time. So big time props. If you've been a supporter, you've been sharing videos, you've been commenting, all that kind of stuff goes a long way. Watching the video all the way through, because honestly that probably helps me the most, is watching the video all the way through, because that's one of the analytics that YouTube comes up with. But either way, hoping you're enjoying this content, hoping you like it. Again, obviously fishing has not been crazy. That's what you see a lot in this August time frame. Before we get to that next spot, maybe I'll toss on this guy because it looks pretty good size. Oh no, there's just two of them. Get down, get down. That is one nice thing about having these reaction style baits. They get down pretty quickly. Oh, he snapped at it. yeah, you kind of got to commit. When they're, you see them come up like that and you don't see the lure drop down on the other side, you kind of got to commit to setting the hook. But like I was saying, hopefully you like this style. There's just real fishing. If you think that any of these guys that do YouTube videos can just go out and smack them on any given lake, that's just simply not true. I was talking with Nick the other day, we were having a phone call, and it's just such a, not that it's ever intentional by anyone, but it's just the fact of the matter. When we're doing these videos, a lot of times we want to give you information and show you the highlights, but there's a time and a place for this too. So I'm hoping you're enjoying it. I know I really enjoyed Nick's videos, and I think a lot of you guys did too. I'm assuming a lot of you probably similar. If you watch my channel, you probably have watched Nick's channel as well. So some of you might be people that have liked his videos, these uncut ones. So all that to say, I never want to put on the facade that we go out and smack fish all the time. These small local lakes, they can get pressured, they can be tough to fish, and a lot of them have so much forage that these fish don't always have to eat because they have everything they want around them. But we can come up with all the excuses in the world. You're coming to watch this to try to catch more fish. I mean, I guess I don't know, I can't quite remember how many we've caught, 4 or 5 or something like that. But anytime you can go out in a few hours and hopefully catch a limit or close to it, that's good for August, in my opinion. And so much is just setting your expectation. If you're going out expecting to just smack them, and you know, you're gonna set yourself up for failure more often than not. So kind of a long rant as I'm moving to the next spot here, but don't get discouraged, and don't think that all these guys putting out videos are smacking fish all the time. Fishing can be tough. Just trying to be consistent with the messaging and trying to be honest. Honestly, that's one of the things, if you watched Aaron's video, that is one of the big takeaways that I had, is like, it's tough in this industry not to pretend like you're somebody you're not, and not to do things because somebody or a company or whatever it is wants you to do or say or whatever. And it just reaffirmed what, you know, we kind of already know, is you just have to be authentic. The world is craving authenticity right now because there's a lot of, whether it's, oh shoot, I saw my line jump actually. Whether it's, you know, politics or social media, there's just a lot of not very authentic people. And, you know, we've just been craving that authenticity. And I think even in something silly like fishing, it can really just bring out the worst and the best in people. So just doing all of our best to be authentic. I mean, you know, sorry, I cannot talk and fish at the same time. Here I am trying to have a serious conversation and I am seeing a fish. That doesn't usually bode well for my conversation, because the fish, yep, there we go. Because the fish usually takes precedence. When I'm using these reaction baits, you can see I'm just kind of horsing it in. And that's something that I've learned from some of these tournament guys, is you sometimes do just have to, I mean, obviously not ridiculous, but you sometimes just got to keep the pressure on them, because they can fall off so easily. Sorry, I can't even talk and fight this fish, because they can pop off so easily. Ooh, another good one. Because they bite it so erratically. Oh, that one was on that Berkeley finisher. Pop that off. And one of the things I really appreciate, talking about authenticity, you know, a lot of you have probably seen or know that I've been working with Norfin tackle. Ooh, another good fish. That's the thing, these suspended ones are usually some pretty fun fish, pretty decent size. Oop. Got some water that dripped on my phone. So like I was saying, I probably had 3 conversations that happened. So again, welcome to my brain. But like I was saying, one of the things I really appreciate is authenticity, and, you know, not trying to pull a mask over anybody's face and just sell a product. You know, I have been working with Norfin tackle, like a lot of you probably saw, because I believe in their products, just like I believe in the products of any company that I work with. But I got on a bite early this year, my open water bite, where I was trying a lot of things. Whoa. And literally that finisher was the only thing I could get him to bite on. So I talked to the guys at Norfin. I was like, hey, you know, I know it's not your product, and I thought it was super cool. You're just like, nope, you gotta be authentic. You gotta be authentic to your audience. And I think that just goes to show the company that they are. They're not, you know, just worried about selling a lure or two. They're worried about, you know, the future of angling and authenticity with all that. So kind of a long rant to talk about being authentic and just something that we are craving. And just something that oh my gosh, this guy is just gonna do little pops. Just something that I really can appreciate, especially, like I said, right now, I think it's pretty evident that the fishing industry, the world, is not doing always great on the sales like it was during COVID. So the fact that I was able to say that and they were willing to be like, nope, you be real, you be authentic, you do what you're genuinely catching fish. And I think that is another way to just say, like, you know what, I'm not trying to sell products. The stuff I'm using is stuff I'm genuinely using. And I'm not ever signing with companies just to sign with them. I'm signing with them because I believe in the products and I use them. And yeah, so there's my soapbox on that. Going on a few rants here. This is dangerous. When I get going live like this, nope, not live. When I get going uncut like this, it's you're getting the real me here. I'm talking about all sorts of things. Oh, I got a little line twist, so I'm gonna cast that out to get, there we go. Sometimes you get that little loop in there. But real quick in a review, this is the Elliott Identity reaction baits. This one, awesome for that. Piscifun Carbon X2 2000. Slip bobber, 2B precision shooter. Those slip bobber rods are awesome. Honestly, that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to work with that company, is those slip bobber rods are phenomenal and something that I don't know, just been looking for a long time. And the other one is the Identity Series Jigs and Plastic Rod. Awesome rods, but we have one more hump we're going to. We'll be right up here, and then I think we're gonna call it. So I'm gonna fast forward till we get there. Suspended mark. Come on. Ooh. Oh, like that. Like I said, usually when they, oh my gosh, that time I think I actually bumped them. Got another one here coming. Ooh, this is a dangerous spot. Usually when you can see them come up like that. Oh yeah, I was going fast to the next spot, sorry. Ooh, hello. There's a pot of fish. Also, if you've ever worked reaction baits into the wind, you know how much of a headache that can be. Getting wrapped around the tip. So we're just getting to that other hump. This is gonna be probably another slip bobber spot, just because I think fish are gonna be grouped up a little bit more. And, ooh, I need to, they're kind of gonna be hopefully a little more stationary. There we go. You can see them sitting up over there. I like that I can see a few sitting up a little higher. We're out a little deeper. I'm gonna drop that down a touch. There we go. Actually, we might be doing okay. We'll see. Let's give it a try on for size at least. I think we're gonna be a little shallower than I want to be though. As far as my slip bobber depth, I should say. They're probably sitting down at like 25. Ooh, We're close to him. Could probably be down a little further. Give it a little snap here and there. Coming up for it a little bit. Gonna keep that guy moving. Cause it seemed like he was wanting to, nope. Let's get up a little more up on top of this thing. That was a little more off the edge. These ones are gonna be up a little more off the top. So I'm going to move my slip bobber down. Toss it up on top. Get it right over those guys. Yeah, I really like August just because, whoa, that guy came up and smoked it. Oh, and I whiffed. I didn't think I was even gonna have to worry about that guy because you saw him come up and just crush it. Man, the good news is I didn't sting him. Let's get a big fat crawler on there. Man, the way that guy came up and bit, I thought it was gonna be a no-doubter. Now they've scattered a little bit more. They were pretty potted up, but yeah, even with the slip bobber, you can see sometimes they will spook and scatter a little bit. I'm gonna zoom in a touch here. So we'll hopefully get back around those guys. Ooh, I thought that guy was gonna come up. There, he bit. Come on, give it a second, give it a second. Reel down. And there we go. Yeah, that first guy, he came up and crushed it, so I thought for sure we were gonna be set. Oh, perfect eater. I don't know how that other one didn't get hooked because he came up and just, whoa, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't even show that fish off. It was an eater walleye. You probably saw that. But yeah, that fish came up, first one came up and crushed it, nothing there. Ooh, this one's a little bigger. So let's go reaction style here. A little bigger presentation. Where'd that guy go? 30 feet. Play the wind a little bit. Come on. Ooh. He's coming back around though. It's a good fish. Honestly, a little longer might be a pike. That's okay. You can see how that one was a little bigger, a little more up off bottom. Those are those bigger ones that I like to chase around with some of these bigger baits. Sometimes trigger them to bite. Let's see. See if we can't pop one more before we go. But I tell you what, catching a handful of walleyes, missing a couple others in, I don't know, I truly don't even know what time it is. I probably should have checked that because who knows. Oh, hello slip bobber, stop. So the one nice thing, these rods have really helped to eliminate that, but you still have to deal with it on the spool happening with that kind of line getting caught up. There they are, 30 feet that way. So what was I saying? Oh, I said, yeah, I truly don't know how long it was. This, you know, it hasn't felt terribly long, like only a couple hours, but who knows, maybe it's been 3-4 hours and you guys are sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. But you're getting a little taste into my life and some of my intricacies and things that make me tick. The nice thing is I should do this a little more just so I can yap it out. I'm a talker, as you can tell, because I don't think I've shut up for a few hours here. Let's see this guy. Right around those ones. If we could pop one more before we go, that would be wonderful. One was coming up for it. Sorry, I keep pulling it away as fish are coming. You guys probably want to see that. If there's anybody still sticking around at this point. If there's anybody still sticking around at this point, you are a trooper. I want to give you a thumbs up or a like or a, I don't know how I would do that, but if you are, it's awesome. I super appreciate the support. Even if you threw it on in the background, and yeah, that's super appreciated. Whoa, hello. Oh, I thought that guy was gonna come and crush it. Still sitting around it. Come on. Maybe the pull away, the fade away. Nope, didn't want to work on this guy. Give a couple of pops. This is definitely a different format for me because usually I have talking points. I'm a teacher, I want to be efficient, I want to get you information, sometimes to a fault where I will cut out even some of the fishing or whatnot. So this is a little different style for me. Man, there's a lot of fish on this thing. I just pan around. You can just see all these fish. A few are a little better looking. We're gonna fish this just a touch more. We could, I mean, I could film for 6 hours. There's enough fish and enough spots to try. Ooh, these guys moved a little bit. So I'm gonna move that. Also, it's no sense keeping a bait out there just because you casted it. Don't be afraid to reel it in, try again, especially if you can tell with forward-facing sonar where it's at. If you're, you know, there's gonna be times where fish might come to you, especially in a clear body of water, but more often than not, it's worthwhile to recast. Another one out here. Not too far away, actually. This one's more of a single. Maybe could have casted that plastic at it or something. Ooh, maybe it'll come up and bite anyways. Every once in a while, if you can see them starting to raise up after it, now here comes the perch. And you can start pulling it away. That can trigger a few bites. Well, I was kind of hoping to end with a bang here. And kind of get one more before we had to go, but I don't want to make this too terribly long. If you're okay watching this for even longer, put that in the comments so I know what my time frame should be. I don't know if you're looking for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Heck, if it was an hour, there'd be many days I probably would go out and not be able to get some walleyes on camera for you. Ooh, there's a little pod. A little pod of fish. Cast out on those. See what we got. Let's end it with one of these here. Come on. Kind of a little bit off in no man's land. There's actually one coming up to take a look a little bit. It's amazing to see how far these fish can see. See if that'll help. Nope. And I'm gonna drop it back down. Drop it down a little bit deeper. Try to get on a few of those guys. You can see that kind of weed edge, a little bit deeper weed edge, hanging out right there, and they're kind of right on the edge of that. That's a better depth. Come on. Yep. Can I pull it away and they'll trigger it to bite? The fadeaway didn't work this time. Oh, man. The old fadeaway didn't work. Maybe I'll let her dangle for a little bit longer and one of those will come up for it. Come on, one more. Oh, he popped it and then spit it. That was like a panfish pop. But you can see those fish are not panfish. There, he bit it. Took it down more like a walleye. Let's end this guy with a missed fish. Oh, he doesn't even have a crawler in his mouth. Thought he was at least gonna take the crawler off. Here, that was gonna be so perfect. It's gonna end with that fish catch. Come on. Well, now I gotta give her one more shot. If there's anybody that's sitting in their house and they can hear me because it's kind of quiet out, I hope that they are wondering what in the world. Ooh, 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 ooh. Just hear me out yapping all day. If there's another boat close by, there's one boat close by fishing earlier. I hope they heard me and are just wondering what in the world is wrong with that guy. We don't have enough time on this video to explain what's wrong with this guy. Man, they're still curious. All right, let's go jig and plastic. See if we can't trigger a bite. Ooh, my crawler isn't in great shape either. Jig and plastic. End it off with one here. Let's see. As you can see, I also like to use, I mostly like to use the foot pedal, but I will keep my we'll keep my remote on me as well. Sorry, fish distracted me again. You can see what my wife is putting up with, man. Although now that she's pregnant, we're finding out she's a lot more like me. She forgets things really easily. She gets distracted very easily. That's just been my life. Ooh. Man. Nope. Do a little bigger rips. That's what I like about this bait, is you can trigger some bites. All right, we're gonna go for one more. Gotta end on a fish here. Well, not got to, because I'm getting hungry and that rain might start here soon. Let's find one more pot of fish, toss a crawler, and just to keep you entertained, I'm gonna tell you a funny kid story from my teaching time. We were out fishing. No, we weren't fishing. That would be awesome though. We were outside. I'm a fly ed teacher. We were outside, and one of the big things when we're going outside is we tell our kids, you know, and our classroom teachers, like, make sure everybody goes to the bathroom, because most times we don't have anything outside. Yes, I'm going with a potty story. When you're an elementary teacher, that's what a lot of your funny stories revolve around. And well, we're sitting outside, and this kid raises his hand. Mr. Erickson, I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, and we're outside, don't really have porta potty, so I'm like, hey, how serious is this gonna be? So I ask him, I say, okay, number one or number two? This is a kindergarten, mind you. So he looks at me, thinks, and he just looks at me, he goes, it's three, I gotta do both. And so if you're ever thinking about teaching, that's a great example of one of the things that you can get yourself into. So many funny times and funny stories. Kids are hilarious. Oh, that guy. So yes, there's a funny story for you. Try to keep you a little entertained. There, he popped it. Come on now. Yes, can we please end with a walleye? There we go. Well, I mean, I guess some of those are too big, but I don't even know what we were at for total fish. But this one's gonna end it. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What a way to end it. Slip bobber on the humps. Reaction baits, jigs and plastics over the suspended fish. Caught a handful of fish today. Fun time. Again, hopefully everything stayed recording. If you like this format, let me know. This is something that I really like to do. Something that I really enjoyed of Nick. So yeah, there's that. Thanks for watching. I don't know what to say. You've heard me blab so long. Appreciate the support. So many people commenting and sharing. Like I said, I just truly can't thank you enough, because if it wasn't for you guys, this would just be me blabbering like this. So clearly I need an outlet. But as always, appreciate the support. See you next time.